So, Abby, thanks for joining me today. We're going to be talking about escape rooms and your journey along the way. I saw some interesting things on your LinkedIn profile, and so I just wanted to have a chat. So, the first thing is you are working on designing escape rooms. So, can you tell me a little bit about how you got started with escape rooms?
So years ago, there's a show called The Great Escape. It only had like 3 episodes, but I don't know if you've seen it or not. But three teams of two, they are taken to a place and they have to escape from whatever location they start at. And they have to go around. So the first one was in Alcatraz. So they were starting in a cell. They had to break out of the cell, go to a place and do like a task, like a puzzle or type of thing. And they had to go to a bunch of places and get off the island before daybreak, all while security guards are walking around the perimeter trying to catch them. And so that with my grandpa, he always made scavenger hunts and treasure hunts for us. And so those two things paired together, it just sparked this interest in puzzles and stuff like that. And my mom, she actually made an escape room birthday party for me when I was like 10 or so, before they even came around the United States, really. And so ever since then, I started making board games and puzzles and stuff like that.
Okay, I love that. So, besides the TV show, so you talked about that. Prison Break seems like a very common theme in escape rooms in general. Like it seems like something that's an easy go to. You got to get out of somewhere. Did you play any like video games or anything like that as a kid, or board games, or like other strategy type things that had you in that same mental space?
Some video games, nothing like puzzly, just like Halo and regular games. I do love board games. Like I have a whole wall of just board games that I have. A lot of them are strategy. I like Catan and Ticket to Ride and stuff like that. So
Good ones. Okay, so and you spent time. You said your grandpa used to make puzzles and things for you. Can you talk about any of those things like that you remember that were any specifics of those?
I think some of them were like always like northeast of the tree over here, and I'm like, I'm only like 10. I don't know which way is north. But like 10 feet off the ground at this location, there's a screw you have to find. Or
Mm,
I remember I had a birthday party, and of course, the last thing you had to go dig up a hole in the backyard, and there was a huge treasure chest. And he talked about this one machine where it's an apple peeler, so you have to like crank it, and it undoes it. He used part of that to make a puzzle.
that's amazing. So most parents I feel like are like, don't dig holes in my backyard, but yours are encouraging you to really like dig in and find things like that. That's awesome. So you went from having been led on scavenger hunts, puzzles, things like that, to trying to design your own. Do you remember the first puzzle you kind of made for yourself or for friends?
I liked the idea of escape rooms, kind of early on, and I liked playing like a police officer. So I had a pair of fake handcuffs, and I remember my church went on a youth and family retreat, and I remember I'm gonna make a little escape room, and I brought those handcuffs. Like, yeah, this is the main part of my escape room. I'm gonna handcuff my friends to a bunk bed and they have to try and reach something while working together. So it's kind of like they have to work together to be able to find a key to unlock themselves. Was the first type of thing. And the board games I always made were like extravagant, like, okay, this is the new rule because I'm the rule maker. And so.
That's awesome. So what do you feel like you talked about people working together in that puzzle? Is that a key component to what you like to make for your puzzles, where collaboration or something like that to solve the puzzle is part of that?
I always like the idea of separating groups and having to communicate back and forth to be able to complete the puzzle. So I've always had a lot of elements of that. I know that not everyone likes that kind of thing, so I have all in the same room and doing things together. But I did have one of my earlier ones was they were tied together at different ends and they had to pass water back and forth to be able to fill up a thing, to be able to raise the key and unlock themselves. So
Okay. Cool. So it sounds like in the groups that you were working with, obviously there was a lot of trust involved because you were handcuffing and tying people up and things like that. So are these your friends, family? Like what kind of groups are you working with mostly?
mostly church groups. I my youth group, they're the ones that've gotten all of my escape rooms basically. But more recently, it's been more family and friends coming over and doing them.
Okay. How do you feel about escape rooms with live actors in them or more interactive type things like that? Have you done any of those?
Done any with live actors in them. I have done one where the people are banging on the doors and they sneak in and move something around, but not like in the same room. But I do like the idea of them. Like there's a zombie one where a zombie has more chain throughout the room time. So
Okay. Yeah, that could be cool. So, from your experience building these escape rooms and puzzles for friends, how does that turn into something that you want to do professionally? Like where is the point where you're like, I'd love to do this. I want to actually build something for an escape room.
well, I've always known I wanted to own my own business, partly because my parents have had their own businesses growing up. But at first, it was I wanted to own a doggy daycare. But I like being creative, and I started really liking puzzles and stuff like that, and it kind of just fit with my mindset of like I can make this type of puzzle. I like puzzles. Let's do escape rooms. And so ever since like junior year of high school, I'm like, I'm gonna own my own escape room. That's
That's it. So when you talked about initially in our conversation back and forth, you had said that you were looking at having an escape room that went to people's houses. It sounds like that's similar to, or businesses or whatever, but it sounds very similar to what you're describing from how you've been. What is for you? What's the advantage of having something that's more mobile versus having something that's maybe a fixed location?
course the end goal is fixed location, but the advantages of mobile is I have escape rooms I have built, and I just need a location to do it at, and to prevent me from having to buy a location and pay rent and all that. An easy way is I can pack up, bring it to them, set it up for the day, and then still not have to quit my day job or technically night job and be able to do everything at the same time while saving money in the process.
Okay. So it gives you the ability to kind of go out to people while still fitting in with, your normal day to day stuff. So that's cool. You said you've created a lot of escape rooms. What's that number look like? And can you talk about some of the themes that you've created?
I have a whole binder full of all my old escape rooms, ranging from the Crazy Crush all the way to Construction Zone. Crazy Crush is probably and Little Girl Takeover, like my first two actual escape rooms. Crazy Crush, the story was this guy was obsessed with me and he locked me in this high-tech facility, so I was able to send one text out to my friends to come save me before he locks me up. And so they have to go through three different stages of this building with like retina scans and all these facts about me. Well, and at the end, I'm chained to a table and they have to unlock me.
All
Um,
right.
Little Girl Takeover is this little girl. She likes playing cops and robbers and doctor. She's taken you in as her prisoner, and you have 1 hour to save. You have to break out and save you and the animal hospital. Animals in the animal hospital before she returns because she doesn't know her medicine will kill you.
Mm.
And so my latest ones I've done, I did a Christmas and Halloween one, which are my big hits. The Halloween one was called Night of the Missing Pepsi. Pepsi's my favorite drink, if you couldn't guess.
Okay.
But a witch, she put a curse on your family because you stole her last Pepsi. And so
Mhm.
you have to break into her witch hut, brew a potion to reverse the curse. Um,
Okay. Nice.
yeah. And then my winter one, it was Nobert Gobert. So we, for both the Halloween and the Christmas one, I have this humongous dragon head made out of paper mache. He became Bert, and he's terrorizing the town, and so you have to help the townspeople and get Bert and his penguin army to go away.
That's amazing. Like having a big dragon's head, obviously it's got to be something you can store somewhere. So you have some like is that just like a you've got a shed that has all your stuff in it? Like how are you storing all the props and everything?
My mom's garage and my bedroom.
Okay.
So,
Very
yeah.
cool. Where do you get your inspiration from for some of these stories? They're all, I think some of them are personal, it sounds like, but obviously some of them, like dragons, are a little more far-fetched. So where do you sort of pull some of that inspiration from?
Part of it is I ask friends, hey, what kind of theme should I give me a theme, give me a place. So like I've made sketches for like gas stations, a fan operation, like a fan factory. I just get inspiration from people like, hey, give me a theme, and I get my notebook out and I just start drawing anything that's in that theme. So like a medieval construction zone, basically anything I can kind of sketch up anything for.
Is that something that you've always done is draw pictures or sketch?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed drawing pictures and stuff.
Yeah. How about it sounds like your grandpa and people have been crafty in their creation of some of these puzzles in the past for you. Is that something that you feel like you picked up from them? Do you consider yourself crafty or like want to build things or use your hands to create stuff?
I can't say I've gotten the puzzle side really from them. It's kind of just my own thinking. Like most of my family doesn't understand most of the escape room puzzles and stuff I make. They just help with the crafty part of it. But I've learned a lot of skills when trying to do it. Like on one of my last things, I got to use a martyr, no, some different tools and stuff like that. So I've always liked tools and making things myself. So
Oh, that's cool. So, like a lot of the escape rooms that I've seen starting to come out lately are very technologically advanced. They've got lots of lights and sound and, tinker type things where you've got to place pieces on specific areas. Is that something that you've tried to work on or have aspirations to work on for your rooms?
I want to be able to get to a higher tech thing, but currently I don't have the full skills to do. So like I've incorporated some things like motion sensors, and I have like those little keypads that you have to type in the codes in, but most of it's like, okay, I want to do like a secret door that opens. How can I, with my skills, do that? And in one of my rooms, I made the secret room where an element of it is there's a dog in a dog cage, and you have to open up the cage and play tug of war with him. And you're pulling the rope to play tug of war with the dog, but really you're pulling open the secret door on the other side of the
Mm,
wall.
nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So where let's say you get an idea for something. I mean, maybe it's the dragon head or that idea of pulling the door open. Where do you go to find out how you would build something like that? Like, are there people around you that can help you? Like, oh, let's try this idea. Where are you getting that?
Her mom, they're both really handsy. And she figures out a lot of the logistics of something. So like we made a huge cabin for one my winter one where she made a door out of cardboard and all this stuff that I brought home from work. So she made like a door where it can lock from So we had filing cabinets, and we put a base of a cabin on it, and then she made a door for that. And she's helping me figure out how to get the wall to work for the secret room and all that. So
Okay. And I've talked to some other people and they kind of say when they're walking around, they're looking at the world differently. They see maybe it's a coat hook on the wall or something like that, or a different kind of doorknob or something like that. And you can kind of see like a puzzle in that. Is that something you do from like real world, like walking around, you take inspiration from everywhere?
yeah, I get a lot of ideas while I'm at work. So like, I'm an overnight stalker, and
Mm-hmm.
so one night I was unloading a pallet and I was cutting off the saran wrap off of the pallet, and I was looking at the saran wrap because I roll it up into a ball and I make all these little fake snowmen out
Mm-hmm.
of it. I was like, could be snow in my escape room. So for 2 weeks, I was just gathering up all the saran wrap from around my work, and I ended up laying it all flat in my garage for snow. So you walk on it, it sounds like snow, and it looks like snow. And like I just get ideas like that just by walking around, be like, "Ooh, this could work for this."
That's awesome. So, I imagine beyond the things like scavenger hunts and puzzles when you were younger, that you've also been to escape rooms and done all that. Like, how many escape rooms have you been to in your life?
Say close to 50-ish or more. I've worked at an escape room, and I've been to tons of escape rooms all over the place.
What do you have a favorite that you went to?
So around me, the best like designed escape rooms are this place called Sanctuary Escape. They have like 10, 15 rooms per escape room, and it's all like really well like decorated, like you're actually in the place. And they have really good storylines. The one thing that's a downside of that is that they're kind of designed for you to have to go back multiple times to be able to
Hmm.
complete the room. It's not like you can do it all in 1 hour. But the all of their rooms are really good, and high tech and stuff like that. Like they had like moving floors for like an earthquake, and yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you mentioned something there that I think a lot of escape rooms struggle with is once you've done an escape room, to go back and do it again is like, well, we've already done it. Like the magic is a little bit gone. But you said that this one maybe would take you multiple times to get through it. And you saw there's a downside. So I'm curious, is it because it's not satisfying to be able to not finish it? Or is it like what is the I guess from an escape room business side, you want people to come back because that's revenue for your business. So, from a player's perspective, what is it that's a downside about that?
Well, they're one of the most expensive ones in the area, and you have to get a group of a certain size to be able to play it. And part of it is like, oh, I didn't finish the room, and like at the end they give you like a percentage of how much you've made it through. Whenever you hear I'm only 80% of the way
Oh,
through, and you come back the second time and you already know the majority of the first half, so you're just flying through it, and then you get to the end and it's like, oh, I finished it in 30 minutes and I spent all this money on a second experience, which is not all bad because you're like, okay, I'm getting to the end. But one time it took us almost 3 attempts to be able to get through one, and it was just like paying all this money to do the exact same escape room when I could be going to go do a new one every single time.
that makes sense. So it's still, even though it takes you multiple times to get through it, it's a contained story. So it's still the same story. You're not doing new things when you come in the second time, other than what you haven't done already. You're having to repeat stuff you've already done and to just to get to the part that you haven't done yet. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that's one of the nicer ones in the area. Given the again the way that you sort of grew up with scavenger hunts, do you find yourself gravitating to maybe more of the simple mechanics of rooms, or do you really like the full production where it's very immersive and you're embedding yourself in that world?
Can go either way. I like the high tech and fully immersed into this experience, but a lot more can go wrong in those situations from the gamer side and the worker side of it. I remember running escape rooms with more high tech, and it was either down one day or something was going wrong midway and I had to go in there and fix it. And from the player side, it's like this high tech thing is really cool, but at the same time, my odds of it working are not as high. The simpler side of things, like with locks, I can physically do it, and it's not gonna delay my time at any waiting on someone to come and fix it.
Okay, so the simpler ones are more reliable in general. There's more moving parts, obviously, in the technology stuff, so that can break down, wires wiggle loose or whatever behind the scenes that just make it not as great of an experience. That makes sense. From your time working in escape room, you talked about that a couple times. What do you see as a game master, or what do you look forward to as a game master having players come through?
Like seeing how different people react to different puzzles. So like some people will be like, "Oh, I know this immediately," and then some people will struggle the entire time on this one puzzle that's not necessarily hard, or like that they're just overlooking one aspect of it. And I like seeing whenever they click it, it clicks in their mind like, "That's how this works," and it's just fascinating to see that how different people react to the same type of situation.
Do you find that um, seeing how people solve different kinds of puzzles, like how does that come into how you're designing things? When you're building out a puzzle, if you've seen a lot of people struggle with a certain kind of thing, do you try to take that same mechanic and tweak it slightly to make it a little easier to do, or are you like, well, I want to stay away from that because it makes people more frustrated or things like that?
So, like, with some of the escape rooms I've done, and I have a bunch of groups, I sometimes alter a couple things because it seems like, oh, this is not as easy as I thought it would be. Like, I had one puzzle where there was just a lock on a door and it had a big, gigantic stuffed animal polar bear next to it with a word on its scarf, which was the word for the lock. Most people, like a majority of the people, will just walk around the entire escape room and not look at not try this one word that's very obviously there. And so I ended up halfway through, I ended up making a little tag with a picture of the polar bear on it and putting it on the lock so that it wouldn't take as much time for them to be like, oh, let me try this bear combination. Um, and some other things like that I've altered because it just seems a little too hard.
Yeah, that's a great idea, making subtle changes to the same kind of puzzle to draw the connection closer for people. That's neat. What kind of escape room did you work for? Um, was it a big one with lots of rooms? Was it just a single room? How did that work?
Breakout escape room. In my location, they had 7 different rooms, but they have different rooms all over the United States.
Okay. And what was the process like for you coming into that as a game master, having to learn all the puzzles? Tell me about how you were onboarded as an employee. Like, did they make you go through all the puzzles? Did they, how'd that work?
So, I saw the job listing on Indeed, I believe, and on my resume, I put, I want to own my own escape room. And so going into it, my boss, he knew I wanted to own my own escape room, but he saw the passion of escape rooms and hired me. And how it worked is that you come in and you play one of their rooms. And then afterward, they walk you through the reset and stuff you need to know. And then after that, you come in and you watch someone run 3 games, and then you're watched run a couple games, and then you're free to run that one room for a while, and then you learn a new room, and then eventually you'll learn all the rooms.
So the same process for each room, right? Like you come in starting with just a single room that you're kind of in charge of for your shift, and then over time, you get access to those to be able to run the other rooms. Is that right? Okay. And with 7 rooms at a time, it sounds like there's probably a lot of moving parts at any one time. How many people were working there?
In there was like 25 of us, different shifts, so like morning shift and evening shift.
Hmm.
Um,
And did you find like the rooms were always busy? Like was there a time where all 7 rooms were running at the same time, or they, kind of staggered out a little bit?
there were a lot of times when all the rooms were booked out at the same time. Sometimes because it's a group booking or just because it's a weekend and people want to do an escape room. Each room is starting at 15-minute intervals, so like this room's at this time, this room's at this next slot. But if it's a group booking, we pair them all at the exact same time, to make sure groups
Okay,
are
so you
exchanged.
might have like a group. So let's say the room is like 2 to 6 people, but you have a group of like 20 people who come in. So you separate them out into different experiences all at the same time. They're able to do their own rooms. Okay. And was it all private rooms, or did you guys do a mixture of like public and private?
All private rooms.
All private. Have you ever done an escape room where you had like people you didn't really know as part of that?
Yeah, done ones with public rooms, and I'm not the biggest fan of those. Uh, Especially when they don't mention it whenever I'm booking a room. It's just I showed up one time and they're like, "Oh, the other half of your group's here." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool."
Yeah. I
Not knowing
mean,
what they're
it's
doing.
it's one thing to see people discover different rooms as a game master, but then having to work alongside those people who have different, capabilities in terms of puzzle solving and things like that. Like I can see that being a challenge. So we talked about your favorite. You talked about the rooms that you were in. For okay, so for the rooms that you're building right now, are there would you consider yourself business ready? Like you want to start having people invite you over to set up your game room, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, as soon as I get someone who wants an escape room, I'm kind of just like, yeah, I'll do it right now. Like,
Okay.
I just made 4 escape rooms for church camp, so I just got back from that, and that's what the 4 base rooms I'm gonna have available. So if they want a base room that I've already done, or they can ask to have one created for them. So
Okay, so that's interesting. So you're able to take an idea, let's say someone's having a party for a 50th birthday party or something like that, and they want to have something that's related to, maybe the person's work or something like that that they do or something. You're able to create the story, create the experience for that with enough time in advance.
yeah.
Uh, That's awesome. I don't think like I've ever heard of anybody doing that. That's really cool. So how long does that process take you to come up with that?
I've done some in well, in rare occasions. I've done some in over like just 24 hours.
Wow.
Like at my old job, we were planning the Christmas party, and I had done an escape room for them previously, and they're like, "We want you to make another escape room for us." But at the time, I hadn't really planned on it, and so I basically just made the escape room in that. 24-hour span and put it all together, and somehow, even with little prep, it they're like, this is the best escape room you've made. And so I do well with the time pressure. Like the best ideas come to me at the last minute. I'm like, yeah, this is how this is gonna fit in. And it's fun to see some accidents of mine turn into actual, oh, this makes sense, or like, she planned this for sure, even though I really didn't. But for the more elaborate type of things, I've taken about a month to, not necessarily because I needed a month, it's because my mom was helping me and she wanted it to look very nice. So she would take her time making design type of things.
Mm. Okay, so that I'm still blown away that's something you do for different events, because I do think that that's really cool. And one of the, with a fixed location, it's hard to be able to create that quickly or create that new. I know there's an escape room here locally that is currently building out an escape room in their existing office, and I think it's supposed to take them a couple months to get them, built out and fixed all in place. So the fact that you're able to, create the story and the timeline, are you reusing some of those puzzles that you have in your binder, or are you coming up with all new puzzles, or like what are you pulling from to help you get there?
I do a mix of both. Use elements of different escape rooms. Like, I've used like a map puzzle where there's a map on the wall and it has different time zone clocks on it. I've used that one in two different escape rooms, but it's like different locations and stuff like that. But yeah, I look at, like, I whenever I get a theme, I'm like, okay, what in this theme do I have available to me? What supplies do I have available that I can make a puzzle out of right now? I don't need to go buy new supplies or anything. And so that's kind of how I'm able to make them sort of quickly, is because I'm like, okay, I have a whole room full of all these things. What can I use right now to make this? Like, I have a humongous tub just of locks. I'm like, okay, I need a three-digit lock. Here's one. Need a combination lock. Here's this.
That's cool. So you're able to at least reuse puzzle elements like the locks, for example. Um, so you don't have to buy new supplies, which is great. When you are going to buy new pieces for your escape rooms, is there one place you go to all the time? Is it all over the place? Like where do you typically source your material from?
Get it kind of from everywhere. So, like, whenever I was making these last four, I was going to garage sales every weekend, and the amount of good things I can find. And like, I can make up a reason to have any object. I'm like, this can be used for an escape room. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna use it. And I've gotten stuff from hardware stores, from Bass Pro Shop, just anywhere. I'm like, I'm gonna make use of this, whatever. And like, at a garage sale, I found this spinny little thing that, it's an old thing that used to hold stamps or something. But I'm like, I don't know what this is for, but I got it, and I got all these little glow sticks, and I put little figurines on the top of it, and I stuck in each of the little clips in it, and so it made like a little potion, little brew stand that they had to figure out which topper went with the puzzle, and then it had letters on it and it spelled something, which is one of my favorite puzzles I made, just visually at least.
Yeah, that's super cool. I think garage sales is that's like a super great place to find it, because it's not all brand new. A lot of times in escape rooms, you want things to look worn or older or whatever. So finding things that have already been used by someone else gives you that great look already without having to do a lot of distressing of your own or things like that. That's neat. So when you right now, obviously you're creating a lot of puzzles already. Like the binder that I saw that you held up was pretty thick by itself. Like, just, I mean, I can see you've been curating that for a long time. Are you seeing any new inspiring trends that are happening in escape rooms in general, or are you, still just like really coming up with things on your own? Are there people out there that you're like, wow, that's a really cool thing that they're doing?
Some inspiration from different puzzles I've seen out there, but I'd say a majority of my things are just in my own head brought out. Like I've
Yeah.
taken elements of stuff, like of course there's different ways of doing Morse code, but to put my own spin on it, I had four different animals in an escape room, and you had to find the little recordable buttons. And so I recorded myself making that animal noise in different uh, amounts, and so they had to count how many times that noise was made, and they had to find all the things and put them in order. But the way that I got the order was from a crystal ball, and so I had gotten one of the little light fixture domes, and I got like a air purifier, and I put it underneath it, and it blew smoke into it, so it looked like it was glowing with fog. And on the outside of it, I wrote the names of the animals, and with a black light shining on it, you could see the names on it.
Okay.
So
That's again very creative, super cool. Do you I guess do you follow other escape room companies or designers or things like that online and see inspiration there, or is it really just the people around you and in your local area that you're taking that inspiration from?
just from escape rooms I've been to around and from escape rooms around the area, mostly. I don't necessarily follow anyone.
I talked to someone recently that was an author, and so he drew a lot of his ideas from writing books, and he writes for video games, things like that. Do you obviously you're a bit of an author in your own way because you're creating stories of these escape room experiences. Do you think that's like a great skill or something that comes easy for you writing these kinds of stories?
Some storytelling from my dad. I've always liked making up stories and stuff like that. And one of the fun elements of my escape rooms is that I make an intro video with me in them. So like one of them, I was all the characters in the skit, and the skits giving like the backstory of the room. And people find the video is part of the best part of my escape rooms is getting to see the story come to life through my acting, and acting. But yeah.
Do you Is that also something you did when you were younger? Is like make films, or like were you in theater? Like how where I guess where do you get that aspect of creating story and acting it out?
So it's in drama all 4 years of high school, in competitive drama. And then I did a lot of skits through my church also. And, yeah.
Okay, so you had a lot of time on stage when you were in high school, and sounds like also through church and other things like that. Is there a genre that you tend to read a lot of, or you know, is it? I mean, is that something you partake in a lot, as reading?
I'm the biggest reader. I like shows. I like Scooby-Doo a lot.
Okay, there's definitely a lot of mystery in Scooby Doo, so that makes sense. Um, awesome. I think it's so fascinating that you have that ability to create those stories. And I think that's really, going through this conversation, I think that's one aspect that to me really stands out and is so unique from other people I talk to, because so many people really focus on a single story, or like really perfecting a single story rather than just creating it. That just seems like a something that's so unique to you, which I love. So we're kind of getting here towards the end. I want to make sure that I'm able to connect you with the people who could get you to build escape rooms for them, things like that. So where do people connect with you? First of all, is there what is your business name?
Abby's Antics
Abby's
is my
Antics.
business name.
Okay.
I have an Instagram and Facebook. My Instagram is Abby Fitzgerald. It's a picture of me and an alpaca. Um, and then I also have a YouTube channel called Abby's Antics where I make videos, and I have a series where I cram myself into small spaces. Can I fit?
All
Um,
right. Nice. Okay, cool. So we'll make sure to link over to those. Um, and I guess is there anything like if you were starting over the I guess the creation process, what would you give yourself as some advice to sort of give yourself a kickstart to get where you are today, but just starting out?
I'd say make sure people know that you're doing it because networking is everything. And as soon as I actually started doing stuff for friends and family, all these people were like, I want to go. I want to go. When are you going to be charging? I want to come pay for an escape room. So get out there networking a little faster, and be confident in myself because I wasn't for a while. And so.
Okay, great. I think that's going to wrap it up for us for today. But I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to chat with me. I learned a lot about what you do and have some great new ideas about what escape rooms can be. So I just wanted to say thank you for taking that time with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.